Magandang gabi po sa inyo lahat. Good evening, good evening, good evening. Welcome back to LIRA in Law on our usual Thursday get-together. Thank you very, very much for joining me. It's nice to see you, no? Gosh, ang lamig ngayon, no? It got so cold. Anyway, before I go on about other things that probably is not really that interesting to anyone, let me welcome you first. Formally, ang pangalan ko po, Lira Simon Kabatbat. I am a solicitor of 33 years. 33. Every time I see it, it takes my breath away. 33 years. 33 years post-qualification experience, which essentially means it does not even include the time that I studied and the time that I then qualified as a solicitor and the time that I trained to go on to qualify as a solicitor, and those things amount to another. I suppose it would 6 years. No, another 6 years on top of the 33 years. So I'm knocking on close to nearly 4 decades in law. So can you imagine 4 decades in law? And it has not. I must admit, I'm still quite passionate about it. I hope that also comes across when we're doing our broadcast nga, no? And it's certainly been challenging, especially in the sphere of immigration, no? So pag-uusapan po natin ngayon, as usual, is anything and everything in the legal world that affect you, that concerns you. And thank you very much for those of you who have kindly written in with your questions. And of course, as usual, pag-uusapan din natin ngayon. So it's a packed, filled tonight nga. It's lots and lots to talk about. And oh, by the way, thank you very much for for watching our previous broadcasts. I think our broadcast, which is to do with indefinite leave to remain, because people are very concerned about what will happen now with indefinite leave to remain, that got nearly 2,000 views. So clearly, it is an issue that concerns you, which is fair enough. It's also frankly an issue that concerns me. So it's certainly it will keep us busy for a long while. So our topic today is changes to indefinite leave to remain and family applications. And that is directly, yung topic po natin, galing dun sa may nagtanong nga, no? So we have a star question. I'll be reading that shortly. So it's again, the great thing about you writing in your concerns is it's very relevant, no? You put it into context, no? Kung itong batas, anong ibig sabihin nito para sa akin, sa buhay ko, sa buhay ng pamilya ko, which is fair enough. So let me just read to you the question nga, yung star question nga natin. Let me have a look. So, ito po, no? So sabi niya, hello, I'm a Filipino nurse currently working in the UK under skilled worker visa. My visa will expire next year, and I've been planning to apply for indefinite leave to remain. However, with the recent tightening of UK immigration and settlement rules, I'm concerned about how these changes could affect my eligibility, especially since my husband and children are still in the Philippines and I'm planning to sponsor them to join me here. I viewed your recent video explaining this. Thank you for viewing. But a shorter version addressing my specific situation would be highly appreciated. Could you please explain how these new rules might impact on? So I love the fact that you noted, you listed how it might impact on my ILR application, my indefinite leave to remain application, family sponsorship, and future path to British citizenship. It's a brilliant question. I mean, actually, you'll see later on that all our questions are great, and I had a real job trying to pick one to use a star question, but I thought this one probably at least for tonight nga, because it's very relevant to what's happening now, no? Mga tao nandito, nagtatrabaho sila, they have the possibility of getting indefinite leave to remain, but there may be changes, maaabot nga sila. In the meantime, ang pamilya nila nasa atin pa, no? anong magagawa nila? And then going forward, if they want to become British, is that still possible? No, what's the impact there? So it's a very relevant question, and this is the scenario that I'm often asked about, and this is a scenario that a lot of people are actually facing in the UK. No, and it can be quite daunting. And actually, one of the questions, nga, probably the briefest question that's ever been posed, no, to me, is picks up exactly on that. But so it is it's very challenging times for immigration, and so I hope nga, no, that you can glean some help, some at least some direction, hopefully nga, in listening and watching me. And I will always try and deal nga with your questions where I can, and also try and always be practical nga about it. So, law is important, of course, no? That's always the starting point. Ano bang batas? I always say to my trainees nga, no, always you always have to apply the law to the facts. No? Because it's one thing knowing the law, kailangan mo din sabihin, how does that apply to you? There's no point, going on at length about uh, legal provisions if you can't actually apply it. So that is what we're going to do today. So the question is great, and so gagawin natin, given those scenarios, what and also the unpredictability at the moment, the lack of details now for in immigration in relation to specific issues. How is that going to be? How do we apply that? So it's going to be a very interesting night. So I'm so pleased you've joined me tonight, and I hope that you will be pleased that you've joined me tonight. Now, so we're just going to take a quick break, and then we're going to launch into our star question and topic po natin, changes to to indefinite leave to remain and family application. Right? See you shortly. Welcome back po sa inyo lahat. Welcome back on this Thursday, cold evening nga. And it's the last Thursday of October. Hindi pa ata, no? But anyway, we're nearly there. Gosh, October, which means in a few weeks' time it's Christmas. I can't believe it. Anyway, welcome po. Welcome. Thank you for joining me. Pangalan ko po Lira Simon Kapatbat. I am a solicitor at Douglas Simon Solicitors. We are a firm of solicitors in Greater London. We're on the district line, Richmond, and so hopefully, if you're in our neck of the woods, say hello. So we're not, no, if you're London based, we're not far from you. You can get to us by tube. Anyway, thank you very much for joining me. Now, topic po natin, without further ado, because we're going to need the time, is changes to indefinite leave to remain and family application. And this is from one of our viewers who posed a question. So I'm not going to reread the whole question, but the point she makes is she's a nurse. She's working in the UK. She will soon, hopefully, apply for indefinite leave to remain. But there are changes. She's worried about that. In the meantime, her husband and child are still in the Philippines, and she wants to bring them over into the UK to join her here. Now, so her question is, with all these changes and also what's changed so far, how is that going to impact on her application for indefinite leave to remain whenever that happens? Also, what can she do in relation to her plan to sponsor her family sponsorship to the UK, and then future paths to British citizenship. So many questions. I love it. Anyway, so um, given that scenario, so you're here, you're working, you're here on a skilled worker route, you're a nurse, no? Can you still apply, taking the first issue, can you still apply for indefinite leave to remain? Absolutely, you still can. So I'll reiterate this. I know I've said it in the past nga, but I'll say it again. Yung chismis po na wala nang indefinite, hindi na kayo makakakuha ng indefinite, o kung indefinite kayo, aalisin nila yun, babawiin na nila, papabalikin na nga kayo, kung hindi nga kayo Briton pa dito, chismis lang po yun. And there's no truth in it. And truly, I don't even think that actually that will happen. No? So chismis lang po yun. So kung nandito kayo and you're working and you're here under the skilled worker route, there's still a possibility of indefinite leave to remain. Hindi nila binabawi, no? It's not that they're saying, oh, wala na. That's not the case. I know probably where that is coming from, no? So papers are printing out, what some certain party manifesto, but in the current government that we have, the changes that are coming into effect, which they've actually published partly, they're not saying, and they've never said, in fairness that they're taking away indefinite leave to remain. Hindi po. Okay? So kung yung nag-aalala kayo na mawawala na yung indefinite, either because you don't have yet indefinite, or you have indefinite now, hindi ka mga pangalang British, hindi po yun totoo. Hindi po yun tama. Chismis lang. No? So don't believe, especially, I've had actually some people say, they're being approached by people to say, to preserve their indefinite leave to remain, they have to sign up with them, and they will then they have to pay them certain amount of money, and they will make sure that the Home Office do not target them. I mean, that's a scam. So wag kayong hindi po yun tama, no? Hindi po. So anyway, let me go back to our question. So I've gone off on a tangent there because it really annoys me when people blow up an issue that either they don't know about or they do know, but they're just creating unnecessary drama, not appreciating really na matatakot yung mga tao, and maybe that's the point. It's terribly annoying, and that's putting it mildly. So yung question so the indefinite leave to remain application, you can still apply for indefinite leave to remain. But let me read to you what we do know the government has said from their policy document. It's otherwise known as white paper. That was published in May 2025, so a few weeks ago. And it was updated rather, in June, 6th of June, 2025. So again, a few weeks ago. Let me just read to you extracts from it. Hindi ko babasahin yung buo. A longer extract is going to be posted nga on our Facebook, mamaya. But let me just read to you 2 paragraphs, okay? Let me just see if I can bring up the whole thing. But otherwise, I'll just read to you 2 short paragraphs, no? Now, ito. So paragraph 264, okay? Paragraph 264, sabi nga dito, this expansion of the points-based system will increase the standard qualifying period for settlement to 10 years, okay? So that definitely is a plan, that they will increase the qualifying period for those working in the United Kingdom from 5 years to 10 years. There will likely be some exemptions to that, okay? Under this, but we don't know what that is yet at the moment. Now, paragraph 266 of the white paper says, through the expansion of the points-based system, individuals will also have the opportunity to reduce the qualifying period on points-based contributions to the UK and society. We will consult on these changes later this year. What does that mean? Good question. Ibig sabihin po, if it's 10 years, you can, if you are considered to be um, you've done things that are good for the economy, now UK economy, or good for the society, like say volunteering, for example, then it's a you can ask, you can apply um, to have rather than 10 years. You get it less time. You don't you will need less time to show in order then to get indefinite leave to remain. That makes it sound like it's a prison sentence, but of course, that's not how what I mean. No, so rather than 10 years, ba ba ba. No, um, that apparently is going to be like a points-based system. Again, they haven't said what how they're going to do that, the process, but the practical consequence would be, so sabihin natin, yung sa'yo nga, no, 10 years, so nagbagong batas, naabutan ka, no? And they then say, okay, pagka indefinite ka na, mag-indefinite ka na, kailangan mo na 10 taon rather than 5 years. Okay? Now, if that's the case, then that would mean that you could lessen the 10 years if you're able to say, look, I do volunteer work, for example, no, or indeed you're a nurse, sabi mo dito, no, they do need nurses in the UK, and nurses has always been, for as long as I've been in practice, on the shortage as a shortage occupation. So it could be that by doing what you do, maybe additional things like volunteering, that rather than 5 years, 10 years nga. But at the moment, your application for indefinite leave to remain, you can still make either on the 5th year or after 10 years nga. Now, kung malapit ka na, so sabihin natin 4 years ka na nga dito, and you're going to be 5 years soon, then it could even be that you're not, hindi mo maabutan ng pagbago. It could be. What I'm also hoping, and I don't think it's going to be the case, unfortunately, but what I'm also hoping is that if you entered the United Kingdom under the old rules, which would have entitled you to apply for indefinite leave to remain after 5 years, that they would stick to that, and those people coming into the UK subsequently, when the law changes, that it would then be 10 years. I think that's probably more hope than anything for me. I think that would probably be fair also. Dahil nga, when you entered the UK, when you applied to the United Kingdom to enter the UK, at the back of your mind may have been, well, actually, yeah, no, there's a possibility I could settle, and I can settle after 5 years. And you may have compared that to other countries also. So I do think there's some, to borrow a legal phrase, some legitimate expectation to some extent. No, so let's see what happens. So at the moment, your indefinite leave to remain can be impacted if it's extended, but at the moment, either you get it within 5 years or you get it after 10 years. The thing that will likely be implemented soon is for the indefinite leave to remain. They're looking to increase the test from a B1 to a B2. No, but I mean, you're a nurse. You've been practicing here a while. Tapos, by the time you apply for indefinite leave to remain, you're either at least 5 years. So I think it wouldn't be a problem for you to have a B2 certificate, the English language. And of course, you need the life in the UK. The life in the UK test, if you are looking to do your life in the UK test, no, sino man nanonood ngayon, if you're looking to do your life in the UK test, allow time to do it. Okay, hindi nga po yung basta-basta. No, it's quite a difficult test. No, and lots of my clients are not passing first time. Actually, at the moment, I would say that the average is probably third time, probably closer to fourth. Actually, soon. So I'm keeping track. Anyway, it's so be careful. Don't just think, oh yeah, hindi yung problema. So allow yourself time to study. And don't be depressed if you don't pass first time, second time, even third time. Don't worry about it. It is just do it again, and you can do it as many times as you like. So the indefinite leave to remain application may well be impacted. I'm hoping it won't be impacted. But okay, 5 years is either 5 years or 10 years. 10 years you can potentially lessen because of, if you like, good character, for want of a better phrase. Family sponsorship. I mean, this I also like the fact that it was raised as an issue. So, ano mangyayari? So, ang sitwasyon to, ano mangyayari sa mga tao, nandito sila, nagtatrabaho sila, gusto nilang kunin ang pamilya nga nila dito, no? And magbabago na daw yung batas. Now, you can still apply unless, of course, you entered the UK as a carer, but you can be a nurse and working as care, but sabi mo dito you're working actually as a nurse. So you can still apply, of course, for them to join you in the United Kingdom on the basis that you're working as a nurse in the UK. You are allowed to do that. Ang payo ko is to do that sooner rather than later. No. There are requirements you need to show, of course, and there's also the issue of income, but you should do it sooner rather than later. Pagka dumating sila dito, ang bisang bibigay sa kanila, katugma ng visa mo. Okay? And so when you apply for your extension and subsequently indefinite leave to remain, of course, kasama sila. You should also include them in the application. No? But there's nothing stopping you now for making the application unless you're one of those people who entered the UK as a carer after the law change, preventing family from joining them in the UK. And I think the change in the law may have been in 2023, could have been 2024. I think 2023. I can't recall now. But you're a nurse, so it shouldn't apply to you. Ang payo ko, do it sooner rather than later. Okay? At saka yung anak mo, I mean, ang mga bata, generally, the younger they are, the easier some often for them to also get used to a different country, different lifestyle. No, so maybe also a practical thing also to do. And anyway, if you're looking at your future in the UK, it may be good to have them sooner rather than later. And of course, yung asawa mo, that dependent mo nga siya, pwede siya magtrabaho dito. So on top of everything else, he can earn. So rather than having one income family, if he's not working at the moment in the Philippines, then you would have a two income family. Or if he's working in the Philippines but he's earning less, then it could be that he earns a bit more. And of course, ultimately, magkakasama kayo. So, ang payo ko in relation to family sponsorship is bring them in ASAP. Now, future path to British citizenship. Yes, this question. This is something actually that I get a lot of, especially at the moment. So the law at the moment says you can apply for indefinite leave to remain if you're a skilled worker once you have completed 5 years leave to remain on that basis. Then you get your indefinite, no? And then 12 months after getting indefinite leave to remain, subject to all the conditions being complied with, you can then apply for naturalization, ang tawag po naturalization, leading to a British passport. No, the British passport is a separate process. Pagka na-naturalize na kayo, then you can apply for British passport nga. So, of course, the first impact is if it's 10 years, then it will take you that much longer before you become British. But if it's 5 years, of course, shorter nga. But it's the future path to British citizenship is it could be a longer time to become British nga. But if you're indefinite na, you have, of course, many more rights, and including no time limit in the UK if you're indefinite na nga. So at the moment, they're not saying that you won't be British if you've been here, in relation to the time scale or getting indefinite leave to remain. What they are saying, and maybe we should have this as next topic, is character. No, the issue of character. That has more impact, especially following the Labour Party conference a few weeks ago. So they're looking very specially on character. So they're looking at people who reached the immigration condition, for example, or have had issues in the UK, or have been in prison. So that's but in your case, it's not necessarily an issue. So your future path to becoming British is hopefully sooner rather than later, as in 12 months after your indefinite leave to remain. But even if that were not to be the case because they changed the law, at least hopefully you will still get your indefinite leave to remain a bit sooner, and with any luck also become British that bit sooner. And by the way, pagka kinuha mo ang pamilya mo dito, once you have indefinite leave to remain, even if, or if you become indefinite later, if you have a child born in the UK, you can actually apply for them to be registered British once you become once you have indefinite leave to remain if they were born in the UK. I know you didn't ask that, but I thought I'd offer that. Now, so it's it's a lot of, well, what ifs, some maybes nga, but I hope that makes you feel a little bit better. No, I know you feel uncertainty, but at the moment, focus on the short term. Can you still apply for indefinite leave to remain if you continue working? Yes. No, hindi nila binabawi. You can still get it. No, can you still apply for naturalization leading to a British passport once you have indefinite leave to remain? Yes. We just don't know. Okay, are we looking at 5 years, or are we looking at 10 years potentially? Any changes to the time scale? You're a nurse, so I can't imagine that they would dissuade you from making an application to become naturalized in the UK. So the answer to that is yes. Can you apply for your family in the to join you in the United Kingdom if you're working as a nurse here? Yes, you can. No? So it's not perhaps as gloomy, as some people may present it nga. But yeah, it's a worry. I understand that. No, it's and I appreciate it nga. But nevertheless, it is. There are things still that you can do, and hopefully, nga, changes don't affect you too much. But one step at a time, right? Okay. Keep me informed, especially if you're bringing your family into the UK. Let me know. Yeah. Now, I hope that was of help to you. And now I know we have lots of other questions. Yeah. So I'm going to, before I go into, let me just have a look. Yeah. Let's have a look at the other questions, because I was going to launch into our Batian already because I was so excited for the Batian, but I better not. I can't hold off. Now, so next question po ito. I wish to divorce my ex-husband. Not yet ex, because you haven't divorced him, in the Philippines. We've been separated for 5 years now, and I'm currently living in the UK. What are the requirements and step-by-step process I need to follow? Okay. You would think this is a straightforward question, but it is not, because of the jurisdiction issue. So let me deal with perhaps the easier bits, the requirements. Nga. You need your marriage contract. Okay? You need his address and his email address. Okay? Now, there's a link. In fact, I'll see if I can post the link, but it's a link to the court website essentially. So if you put in the link's actually called "Get a Divorce: How to Apply." .gov. No, so if you just type in divorce.gov, it will probably then come up. But I'll see if I can put up the link. But the main thing nga kailangan mo is yung marriage contract nyo, yung galing nga sa PSA, or in the olden days, NSO, remember when it was called the NSO? Now it's called I think it's called still the PSA, unless they changed it again. Now, and the process is, as I say, you start it. And now, if he's in agreement, then you can do a joint application. Pero kung nasa Pilipinas siya, it's probably better if you make the application nga, no? So you'll be the sole applicant. Now, it will ask you, the form will ask you various questions. No, kailan kayo kinasal? Saan kayo kinasal? So you need to make sure that you have your marriage contract nga in front of you when you make the application. Now, it will also ask you if you are you are habitually resident or domiciled in the UK and other things. Now, most people, kung dito sila nakatira, and dito nagtatrabaho, matagal na nga sila dito, even if you don't have indefinite yet, no, you may will be considered, likely to be considered, really habitually resident in the UK. So that's the box you tick. Okay. Now, at the end of the form, I don't have the form in front of me, so I'm going by memory. At the end of the form, there's a section, sabi doon, are you looking to make an application for financial relief? Most people tick no because they don't want to make a claim against their spouse nga. But you actually should tick yes. The reason for that is it invites the court's jurisdiction to deal with an application for, say, a consent order, that there's no, you're not claiming against him, he's not claiming against you. No, I mean, if you make a mistake and you tick the wrong box, you say no. That's not necessarily the end. That's not fatal necessarily, but it means you need to submit an application on top. So by ticking yes, you don't need to bother with some application, the form. But also be careful because there are requirements about remarrying and all of that. So yun. So marriage contract, yung pinaka-importante, address niya, email address niya. And I'll see if I can send you the link. Good luck. It's not actually as straightforward as some people say, but it's also not as complex as others. Let me know how you get on. Okay? Now, so meron pa tayong questions. So sabi niya dito, recently, I've been experiencing unfair treatment and excessive workload compared to my coworkers, and I'm afraid to speak up because my visa is tied to my employer. Can you please explain what legal protections I have as a migrant worker under employment law? If I decide to change employers or report the abuse, will it affect my visa status or future ILR application, indefinite leave to remain application? Oh, so it's a scenario that I come across fairly regularly, unfortunately. So immigration and employment can often clash, but no choice. You have to deal with it. You have to have a holistic approach. You have to look at both, because it's one thing to say to someone, oh, you can, under employment law, you can do this, when you demand all of this. But what happens to your immigration? You always have to bear that in mind. Now, you can, of course, just on a practical basis, if you want to change employer, of course, you can see about doing that. Beware though, na kailangan mo, kung sino man sasalo sa'yo, that yung sponsor mo, they have to have a license, a sponsorship license. It depends on what it is that you're doing. It can be a bit difficult to find employment where they have a sponsorship license. Pero importante yun. So sino man sasalo sa'yo, sino man mapupuntahan mo, they have to give you a certificate of sponsorship. Kailangan meron silang sponsorship license. So get that cleared to begin with. Now, putting that aside, what protection do you have? Many. And that's great thing about the UK. Workers are generally very well protected. So, for example, if you get told over and above others, you have to do this, that, or the other, and then they sack you because you don't. If you've been working for the same employer for 2 years, a continuous period of 2 years, then you can potentially sue them for unfair dismissal. Okay? Now, there are also something called the working time regulations, 1998, I think. So where it says an employee cannot should not be made to work for more than 48 hours a week on average. So sometimes they call it working time directive or working time regulations. You can opt, out of the 48-hour week, but that has to be something that you and the employer agree. So I don't know if you sign something up, but generally it's 48 hours per week, working time regs. There's also, of course, the health and safety issue. Dahil pagod na pagod ka, puyat na puyat ka, tapos let's say you're looking after people, then it could be that you fall asleep on the job or you can't function properly. So it could be a health and safety issue also for you, because you are working excessively. So you can report it. to the local authority if that's the case. But I appreciate that you probably don't necessarily want to do that. But you can report, I think, to that to the authority, the health and HSC health and safety. You can probably do it anonymously. No? Hindi mo kailangan sa bibigyan pangalan mo. But I appreciate that. Yeah, no, it's great to have all these rights. And oh, by the way, these apply regardless of the visa that you have. You don't have to have indefinite leave to remain or be British in order to be protected. Okay, so the protection you have, question is a practical one. So what would happen with the visa? So ang payo ko, start looking for another job. No? Pagkatapos, I mean, you can even give them a chance once you have this other job. If they want to, I mean, I suspect that you probably don't want to continue working for these people kung ganyan ugali nila. So start looking for another job and change. That's probably the way to go. If they sack you because you've said no to working 120, 100 hours a week, then yeah, you can potentially make a claim if you have the timing under unfair dismissal and potentially other things, health and safety. In that case, make sure that you continue to try and get a new job nga. Failing that, you must see a solicitor because it could be yung naririnig nyo, yung aso ko. So that's not me. That's Watson shaking his bottom. Anyway, so it is not it's not an easy it's not an easy, it's a horrible, actually that's probably better description. It's a horrible situation not to be in. But on a practical basis, of course, yeah, you have to look after your immigration. So let me know how you get on, okay? And if you have issues, email me. Right? Let me see, because it annoys me excessively when people are taken advantage of because of their leave to remain. Right? Now, so another question natin. So let me have a look. Okay. So let me have a look. All right. Sorry, let me just see. Yeah. I'm a Filipino currently living here in the UK. Medyo mahirap na po ang sitwasyon ko ngayon. Kasi yung partner ko na isang British citizen ay naging verbally at emotionally abusive. Ang worry ko po, dependent visa nga lang niya ako. Kaya hindi ko alam kung anong legal na pwede kong gawin kung sakaling gusto ko nang umalis sa relationship namin. Pwede niyo bang i-explain kung qualified ba akong mag-apply for domestic violence concession o kung iba pang legal protection o visa para sa mga biktima ng abuse? Paki-explain din po kung ano mismo ang DVC at paanong gumagana para sa katulad kong may ganitong sitwasyon. Yeah, the domestic violence route, no? Okay, so yun, there are strict requirements, but the first requirement nga, I think okay ka, no? Sabi mo di sa akin, British nga siya, nandito ka based on your relationship. So siguro pumasok ka dito as a spouse or indeed as unmarried partner because you've been together for more than 2 years nga, no? So that would be the first thing. So kailangan visa kung gawin niya nga ito, i-report mo siya sa police for so many reasons. Firstly, to keep yourself safe, no? Secondly, kung alam niya na merong ngang tutulong sa iyo, it could be that he doesn't do it again. They don't do it again, no? Safety first, no? So you can but if you are being if you can't go to the police and you are being beaten up nga, you probably have bruises, you have evidence nga, go to your GP, go to your doctor, picturean nila, ask, no, can they take a photo of your injuries, no, and also take photo of your injuries. If it's worse, then you're at the hospital again. Ask them to explain to them, ito nga nangyari, no, na because that would also be evidence na ginulpi ka, no. And abuse is not just physical abuse; it can be other things too. It could be verbal abuse, no? Minimura ka, o kaya it could be that tinatakot ka, or it could be na, he's hindi ka binibigyan ng pera, hindi ka pwedeng pagtrabaho. So all of those can be abuse. And it could be even that the police say, yeah, actually, no, it's we're going to prosecute. It could be. Pero sa'yo, one of the things, of course, is apart from keeping yourself safe, is what can you do? Can you still make an application? Can you still stay in the UK? The answer is probably if you have evidence and they accept your application under the domestic violence route. Ang ibig kong sabihin, magpapasok ka ng application, kung makuha mo yon, immediately indefinite ang visang bibigay sa'yo. Indefinite leave to remain. Rather than limited leave to remain, because of course you're no longer a spouse. So indefinite nang bibigay sa'yo. And by the way, there are refuge centers for people who are abused, no? Kung saan ka man nakatira, just Google it, say, refuge, domestic violence, and you will find that there are organizations also that can help you, no? So I hope I emphasize again, kung ang nag-aalala ka sa visa mo, which is fair enough nga, if you make an application under the domestic violence route and it's successful, ang bisang bibigay sa'yo is in fact indefinite leave to remain, so settlement status. Okay. But given all your issues nga, you should really seek legal advice as soon as you can, not least because you may want to consider injunction. So kung nagsasama nga kayo, hindi naman siguro ka pwedeng basta-bastang lalabas ng bahay, no? Aalis ng bahay, kasi where would you go? It could be that you can actually apply for an injunction. So that's an order stopping him from doing things like beating you up or indeed excluding him from the property. So ibig sabihin, papaalisin siya. Ikaw po nandoon, no? So injunction proceedings may also be applicable to you. But see a solicitor and truly safety first. Okay. All right. Good luck. Now, we have other questions, I'm sure. Let me just see. I want to make sure that I deal with all your questions. Okay. So ito. I have a question po. Totoo bang visa po ng parent of a British child, wala bang bayad, okay, o fee? Is it free? Kahit employed ang parent? No. So the only thing I can think about is it could be na nagpasok kayo ng application for fee waiver. No? So basically, sinasabi mo hindi mo kaya yung fee dahil nga ikaw lang mag-isang nagbibigay sa bata, for example. No? So no, there's a fee payable. Absolutely, there's always a fee payable. But you can ask for fee waiver. No? But otherwise, you have to pay the fee. And the IHS. Now, I'm sure I have other questions. So sandali nga lang. Let me have a look. Okay, let me just see. Ito. I wanted to leave this question to the last, no? Dahil nga, it is truly, so it's I think it sums up the concerns people have at the moment. So itong question ito. So sabi niya, given the new indefinite leave to remain guidelines, is it practical to stay in the UK? We only had 2 years left. We only have 2 years left. And now we may be pushed to a 10-year route. Should we consider moving to the US instead, since it feels like we have no future here anymore? When I read the question, I thought, yeah, that sums up really what a lot of people are feeling at the moment, no? I was saddened by the question because I think it is, it sums up how a lot of people are feeling. But let me give you my take on it. Okay, so when you're faced often with issues that are difficult, I look at the pros and cons. No, okay. So at the moment, tama ka. They're new, potentially. It's not in play yet, no? So when you say new ILR guidelines, hindi pa po. Okay, not yet. I mean, it could be that it changes, and I do think it will be implemented, the change nga, but it's not yet the case. And they also haven't said, is it going to apply across board, which I think it will be the case, but I'm hoping that it would be, there would be what's called transitional provision. So ibig sabihin, mga tao nandito na, who legitimately expected to get indefinite leave to remain after 5 years, hopefully will be able to do so in 5 years rather than the proposed 10 years. Pero hindi pa natin alam. There are a few, there's unfortunately not enough detail, no? Even now, following on from the policy document. And I don't think we'll hear anything probably for another few weeks. It could be that we hear something before Christmas. But at the moment, it's not a new guideline. Hindi pa po yung batas. So it could be that hindi ka maabot because you only have 2 years to go, potentially. So I would not make rash decisions. So yung una, I'm not sure whether that would be a con or a pro, but I would say at the moment, hindi pa yun sigurado. I think it will happen, but hindi pa po yun sigurado. Now, if it's the case that you then need to satisfy 10 years rather than 5 years, remember, sabi ko nga kanina, you can lessen that. They've already said so also. You can lessen that from 10 years by showing that you are good for the society. You're doing, as I say, for want of better, I can't really think of anything else other than volunteering. So you are someone that is so good that you don't have to show 10 years, but rather closer to 5 years. Again, not enough detail really. Are we looking at, do you get like, can you knock off a year or 2 years for good behavior? What do you consider to be good behavior? So again, hindi pa natin alam. Because it could also be that you are actually in a profession that's so shortage in the UK that they say, well, yeah, of course, no, kung ganyan ang trabaho mo, kung nurse ka, you specialize in this, you go 5 years rather than 10 years. It could be. At the moment, hindi pa din natin alam. Now, also, look at, if you're looking at the US, before doing anything rash, tignan mo, ano bang immigration law, no? What would you need to show? I suspect you probably would need to show more, than currently the 5 years. And I think it's probably potentially even more than the 10 years that's proposed, And it's also a lifestyle issue, Is it going to be, would you prefer the UK to the US nga, or vice versa? Now, 2 years sabi mo left, which means you've invested 3 years of your personal life and professional life in the United Kingdom. And so it's not, that's not a small thing. You've also made friends, I'm sure, So you progress also, I would imagine, in your line of work, your progression. I would say it's probably too rash to make that decision na nga ngayon, to see about moving and starting over in the US or anywhere else nga. And ultimately, look, I know it's difficult at the moment with regard to immigration, lots of uncertainty, and things are getting tighter. And I'm not sure also that well, I'm sure with certain things that the government certainly, I feel that it's perhaps not the way forward, but okay, it's nevertheless, the UK is a great country. I mean, I'm sure some people will disagree with me, but it's great. You know, it's a tolerant society generally. Um, we have the NHS, even with all its flaws. They look after us for free. You know, it's pensions are great at the moment. Not, you know, probably not when I'm pensionable age, but at the moment, yeah, you know, we look after the vulnerable. You know, so even with all the issues now politically that we have, I think I think there's more to deciding where you're gonna live and where your family is going to live than immigration. Is a big part of it, of course. You know? But don't don't forget to look at the other things. Okay. Yeah. I hope that is of help to you. Now I know that I've done it the other way around. So I had we've done the questions and not and missed the batian, but that's because I knew we were going to run out of time. But I think we may have we'll rush through our bati because I can't miss it. I do like it. So Natalia de Guzman, good evening to everyone. Good evening po. How are you? Are you well? Yeah. I hope you're well. I hope you're inside. Ang lamig sa labas, ano? So cold. Guy, the great guy from London, having a very cold Thursday to Attorney Lira and to the viewers. I work from Canary Wharf today. Ooh, sorry, you had to travel. And I'm taking care of Justin now, his little boy. Still good news, Attorney Lira. I'm still tap send ambassador. It's a money remittance to the Philippines. Bonus of £15, yeah, for first-time users. Looking forward to lots of learning again and to Attorney Lira's lovely voice. Guy, the great guy. We love that guy. We love that guy. Now, let me just see. I'm rushing through because I want to get everyone in. That's so kindly said hello. Marilyn Jones, sabi niya, a cold Thursday evening. Tama ka, madam. Attorney Lira and everyone watching. Another interesting and informative night with our lovely solicitor, Attorney Lira, of course. We love her. We do love Miss Jones. We do. I've known her Miss Jones, we've known each other forever. No? At least 20 years na ba tayo? See, there you go. Just shows you how old I am, how old we are. No? Outcast, sabi niya, timely topic. Tama ka. It truly is. It's a concern, no? And I hope that was helpful, nga, no? Now, May Tigbao Vargas. Hi, May. Hello and good evening, Attorney Lira. And to all viewers, happy Thursday. God bless everyone. God bless, May. Are you well? Yeah, you inside, I hope. You're not working now, no? Hindi ka nagtatrabaho, no? Lagi siya nagtatrabaho. Oh, sabi niya, I have a question po. Yung parent of a British child visa application, free libre po lang ba? Hindi. Thank you po sa sagot, Attorney. Sabi niya, I was just asking for a friend. Ikaw ba nagtanong? I see. Magre-renew kasi ng parent British child visa this month. No, may bayad po. But you can apply, kung kapos siya, they can apply for fee waiver. No? So they should look it up, fee waiver. Miss Giling, MM Giling. Hello, good evening, ma'am. Sabi niya, Miss Giling, kamusta po? And hello to all the family. Miss Giling is really hardworking. And her family likewise. She's astonishing. Rona Lee Saratspe. Hello. Good evening po, sabi niya. Have a restful night. To you too, Mrs. To you too. I hope I'm glad you're watching, no? David Calixto II. Magandang umaga from Philippines. He is impressive, no? It is anong madaling araw na sa atin ngayon? Anong oras? Because we're 8 hours we are Philippines is 8 hours ahead, no, sa atin. So yun, it's madaling araw, no? Miss Rafael. Emeline Rafael. Hello, Attorney Lira, sabi niyan. Everyone, and happy Thursday. Happy Thursday, madam. I was thinking about you today because I was trying to log on to the Wimbledon, my Wimbledon, no? Tawag nga, no? And I forgot my password. But anyway, I don't know still if I got any tickets for Wimbledon. I did enter the public ballot, but I don't know yet. So, yeah. So I was thinking about you. I was like, I wonder how Miss Rafael is. But you're feeling well, no? all caps. May, sabi niya, May Tigbao Vargas, I'm well now. Oh, that's good, huh? That's good. I'm glad to see everyone has very kindly, logged on and continued watching. Thank you very, very much po. Salamat, salamat sa inyong lahat. I hope you enjoyed that. I thoroughly enjoyed it. You probably, I hope you probably gathered that because I kept going. I kept talking. No. I do enjoy our Thursday get together. So I hope you can join me again next week, po, as usual. And salamat to all of you who watched, who will watch, and the people who post questions. They're really excellent set of questions nga tonight. Salamat again, no. I hope that I've been of some help not to you. And thank you again also to all the Facebook groups who've allowed us to post our contents on their pages nga. Salamat ulit. And of course, salamat sa inyong lahat. I hope to see you again next week, same time, same place at LIRA in Law. Good night.